All right, we're gonna go silent here for a second. I'm gonna talk to you guys about Wata 10's because I followed the market quite a bit on these. Okay, I think this is interesting information. I'll hold one up just so you can see it. Okay. All right. So, as Satoshi said, VGA started in 2008 and Wata started in 2018. In COVID, the height of value for most video games was in 2021. Okay. Through that period of time into like the 2021-22 era, there was like, as far as cardboard Wata 10's go, there was maybe 4 in existence, and they were Karate Kid for NES, Wolverine for NES, an SNES Rap Jam, and an N64 Bomberman. Those were like the 4 main ones that you kind of knew that existed. And then the next game that I saw in a Wata 10 was a Wii U Zelda Twilight Princess. And I bought it immediately, buy it now. And it was, when I got that Wata 10 in my hand, because of how scarce it was at that time, it was one of the coolest feelings I ever had in my personal collecting, buying, selling, all of it. It was a really cool game. So after that game came out, so let's get some price comps here. So like in April, the Rap Jam sold for 15 grand on Heritage Auctions. So that was one of those 4 first cardboard Wata 10's. This is over like a 4-year period. So they're grading tens of thousands of games maybe, and they're only giving 4 Wata 10's out. Then the Wolverine for NES sells for 48 grand in August of 2022. That was a big sale. Okay. In September of 2022, there was a company called Standard Gaming that came out, and they started their own retail website. And this guy was from Coins, and he bought a ton of video games. He started grading Switch case packs. It was really the first time that I had ever seen it done. And how he released it is he had, Brett, he was a good guy in the hobby, had a ton of fire on his website. But the Wata 10's, how he released them is if he graded a case pack of Legend of Zelda, he'd mostly get 988++s straight out of a case pack, and then he got a few 10's, and he'd run them. I think he priced them out right out of the gate for $1,500 a piece. I remember where I was when he released those to the market, and I bought 5 of them. I ended up selling them all and did fine. But as time went by, they just became more common. So Standard Gaming, there was like kind of a Wata 10 dump. We hadn't seen a lot of it, and this was like a big earthquake in the 10 realm. A year later, in September 2023, what I think is one of the most important pieces in video games that exists was the Wata 10 that came out for the Ocarina of Time for N64. That game sold for 156 grand in September of 2023 on Golden Auctions. And I think that game, you could make a case that if the market ever takes off again, that is a seminal piece. In February of 2024, Karate Kid sells for 10 grand on Heritage. And then again, it sells in May of 2025 recently on Golden for 6,700. So there was a drop in that. In between those two sales, in August of 2024, the Dubai collection kind of became, and they got like a pedigree or some sort of, basically all the games in their collection, they're out in Dubai, were designated as part of the Dubai collection. This is crazy and somewhat controversial, but what they did is they resubmitted all their Pokemon cardboard games that they had that were 988++s. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of games, and they got back some 10's from Wata. So even Wata acknowledged that their view of a 10 had changed by that point. Okay. As of May 2025, if you look at the Wata Pop Report, there are 447 Breath of the Wilds that have been graded a 10. Okay. A lot of that comes from Skylar. He did a ton of grading. He's on this platform. He's one of the top guys in this platform. He brought a ton of 10's to the market. Even though there are that many 10's that exist, you have a sold on Friday of this game for $375. Okay. I just recently ran comps on some of these Wata 10's, and I was shocked by some of the recent solds. I am a big believer in the Wata 10. I was going after the Wata 10 first party Switch collection. But I just have to sell stuff to you guys just to, bring good stuff to you. I want to always continually bring stuff to you that I think is worth grabbing. These Wata 10s are super rad. I don't know that Wata is owned by PSA. And how a PSA 10 is valued. So like the 988 plus plus, did it take somewhat of a hit? Yes, it did. But they are both still great. As I said in my big Wata first party Switch stream about 4 streams ago, I said that you grab 988 plus pluses until you can grab a 10. And I think that this set is one of the best sets that you can collect in the hobby. And I don't know if, based on the prices I'm seeing on eBay, it seems like people are starting to chase this set. But that's my spiel. I submitted 63 games, first party Switch games. I'm going to be very transparent. Game Gallery is one of the best at being transparent, but I want to tell you exactly what I did. I submitted 63 games directly from a warehouse driven to the grading company in California. Okay. Of those 63, I got 7 10s. I had 3 other 10s in my own collection. So that's what you're looking at here. That gives you an idea of how hard it is to get. What you would do to try to land a 10 on your own is you would just buy multiple copies on eBay or on this platform and try to get your hands on eventually getting a 10. You'd probably lose money on the other ones if you got them graded and they weren't a 10. 988 plus plus can break even for you, but this is what I want to teach people. This is like, I have a lot of background with the 10s, and I hope this was useful to you. So let's get back to some music, and we're going to run these 10s, okay? All right. Can we do we have one more giveaway?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do one more sticker giveaway.
No, you don't.
We don't. Okay, no more giveaways. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull this down. This will not be the first one that I run. Okay. Let's see here. We're back to M83. All right, let's start here. On August 9th, you have a comp sold of this for $250. This is not the first print. The first print of this game, I think, is a little harder to come by. But this is a 00001. So, okay, see it there? And then here, let me get you right here. See that B? That probably means second print. No problem, Gabagool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, you can't control some of the grading aspects. That's true. That's true. I hope that, Game Gallery, coming from you, you know all that history too, brother. And I know that, if it's coming from you, it landed. That's good. Okay. All right. We're live here. We can go like a 45 seconds to a minute on this. This could be the biggest steal of the night is the first one if you guys aren't ready for this. But I have 10 of these. Education does rule. And I learned that there's some people that are watching this that just don't know. Yeah, no problem. I think 10s are super rad. If I wasn't kind of, putting all my resources towards this platform, I would be collecting these. We got a $220 sold comp on this on eBay in August 13th. Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. But these are great opportunities to flip to eBay. For one reason or another, I bought several of the, off of Skylar, several of the Zelda Breath of the Wild, and made money on all of them. So, there's good opportunities in these games. And they're super rad. Star Allies is a great game. I could sell Switch all day long.
It would be great, right?
Good win. Another good win. All right. Unique title here. There's none of these graded a 10 on the pop report right now. So my guess is when the pop gets updated, this is the only one. I have, I don't know what you want to hold with collectibles. It's tricky because if something happens to the broader economy, one of the first things to go is collectible values because it's, that's just the way it is. But if I were to say that there was something good to put your money in, it's something like this. The highest grade you can get of some cool stuff. Good grab that one. We bumped up to 45. We good? There. There's one of these fellas on the pot. Just one. This was the best Mario Party. I'm pretty sure. Super Mario Party was weak. I played I think, is there 2 or 3 of these Mario Parties on this console? The toughness of grading a game at 10 versus a card makes 10's a joke. So, Trey, are you saying that it's easier to get a 10 on a card, and that makes the 10 in cards a joke, or what do you mean by that? 14 seconds. Yeah, this is a great cover. Look at that. Good one. Good one, that one. Good one, that one. Okay. All right. Before we get this going, this is cool. There's a comp on this for $400. Sold today. This game sold for $400. I'll tell you about that in 1 second, Brain Mage. All right. This is a third print. This is a C. See that right there? See the C over there? And then you've got the number down there, 00002. Okay, third print, I think. It's definitely not a first. But this in a first print is a big deal because this was an early game on this console, and you just didn't. A lot of those, there weren't case packs of first prints of Super Mario Odyssey out there. Okay, so we're live. Okay, so Wata versus CGC. I am now a CGC dealer, primarily because I have close proximity to their warehouse. So I now have the ability to get as cheap a grading as I can possibly get. It's part of the advantage I have in bringing stuff to this platform. I've graded with CGC. I was a big Wata grading fan for many years, and it was mainly because of the use of their platform. I started with Wata, and I'm pretty loyal. I've never left either of them. I use them both for different things. Right now, CGC's turnaround time is so bad that it's very hard to tie stuff up with them. It's 4 or 5 months, but I have been sending 80 to 100 game orders to them for a couple months. It is a big player. So I have been grading stuff with Wata to have a quicker turnaround. Ideally, you can pay the cheapest amount and let it come back whenever it does. Good win. But I like both companies. I like having allies with everybody. Like, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes you get bad grades. I'll give you an example. This is funny. I've never worn this. I'll show this to you. So back in like 2021, 2022, early on, with grading with Wata, they made a mistake on one of my grades. Or no, I think they tried. I sent in a gold DuckTales cart from Time Walk and had it graded. And they tried to take stuff off with it and affected the gold paint. But I said it's fine, not a big deal. They sent me this sweatshirt. Look at this. It's like early Wata. So like, this is the reason I put this on is to say like, they kind of did me wrong, but I tried to maintain a relationship with them because you never know who you're going to need to use, and that's how I feel about all of it. I see the good in everybody. I try to. All right, this is a banger. Metroid Prime Remastered. So fun. No. So the the gold DuckTales with Time Walk came in a lunch pail with shredded up money and some paperwork, and it was a gold DuckTales cart. And so I graded just the cart, and it was rad. Yeah, it was super cool, and I let it go. Do they all cost the same grade? So generally CGC is cheaper. Wata's been running a lot of more promotions lately, so if you follow them on social media, you'll see them occasionally run a promo. They might still be running a promo on one of their faster tiers. and their cleaning service is free. So, but generally CGC is cheaper. Yes, correct. Yep, good win, obsolete. Excellent win. Oh, I got a good one hidden in the back. That's fun. All right, let's get to Peach. All right, none on the pop report of this. This is some of the best box art. Listen, Peach is such a scarce character on the cover of video games that this will be collectible. Unfortunately, this game has its weaknesses, but it's a beautiful game, beautiful art style. Welcome to the bronze party, obsolete. Yeah, so grading varies depending on how fast you want it back. Even CGC can get you something back probably in a week if you're willing to pay $150 to get it graded. Is Peach in the top corner of NBA Street? That's pretty rad. I didn't know that. That's cool. This is a good buy. This is a good buy here. This is one you move over to eBay, and I think you list it for minimum $300. Oh, Pikmin's not for sale. I love Pikmin. I started on Pikmin 3 though, Kyle. I heard recently that 2 is pretty good. I might have to travel back to 2, but I've played 3 and 4. Good win, obsolete. Okay, we're going to do 2 Zeldas. Start with Breath of the Wild. You had a $375 sold of this on Friday. I know Game Gallery and I have talked about this game quite a bit. He was looking for copies of this, and sure enough, however many you could get at that time were a good buy because it is selling for $375 on eBay right now. There are so many copies that were brought to the market. Yes, 001. Yes, this is not a first print. Correct. Yep, it's a second print. Okay. Thanks for asking. But we saw Skylar bring a ton of these to the market, but one buyer bought most of them. Yes. First print would be $15K. That's right. Game Room Granny, she must have grabbed 40 of these. So that kind of thins out the herd of what's really available out there. And there's so many people that want this. Yeah, I played this with my son too, Kyle. Bertram Foist, who's in the room, bought this game when he came to visit us. And he turned us on to Breath of the Wild, and it's a great memory with my kid. Good win, Freddie. Good win. 2 more 10s. This is crazy. You got a $500 sold on this on Friday. On this past Friday, 3 days ago, this sold for $500. You watch the price of these. That's a huge jump. People are starting to procure and pull 10s out of the market. Yes, it's even better than that. It's a first print, Forte. It is a first print with the Dr. Wily. It's a banger. An absolute banger. That's coming real soon. It is. I can't wait to show it to you. 10 million, no, they stopped producing them. So I know the one of the wholesale dealers that I have access to, he doesn't have anymore. So there's going to be a lot of sealed copies that still exist, but there's just not a ton of case packs out there that I know of. But right now there's 400 and some of these in existence. Good win, Gabagool. Yeah, of the Breath of the Wild, I mean. All right. And I'm going to tell you about this one.